G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Look, we've had no rain, but I really would like some. And 18 to 27 today with the weather, and they're saying it's going to be, a bit of cloud come over and 10% chance of a shower, but that normally means rubbish. That's just nothing, doesn't happen. And so, yeah, it's getting dry out, but that's okay. We could, as you know from last week, we really do need the rain here, and just a few scuds would be really nice, but we don't seem to be getting much. But anyway, gives me something to whinge about. I got a few videos out last week on the John Deere 2030, and I finally got round to finishing the four-wheel drive solenoid on the John Deere 1640. Now, with the John Deere 2030 in bits, I'm hoping it rains, so I've got some slashing to do or some topping to do. But I thought, well, my slasher, it's over 10 years old and it's been a beauty. I made it myself, and I got the top folded down on an angle, so there was nothing on top to keep the grass there, and so it could fall off of its own accord and not stay around rusting the top of the slasher off. But look, good in theory. It still gets grass on it, and sometimes I leave it on, sometimes I take it off. If it's a drier type grass, if it's just slashing really dry, I just leave it there. I don't worry too much because it does protect it. And but if it's a wet, acidy sort of grass, well, yeah, I try and clean it off, blow it off. But even in that time, the slasher's got a couple of rust pits starting in it, and the double section where I bolted the gearbox through, that was a second-hand bit of steel to start with when I built it all those years ago. So in that 10-year time, I've dropped the oil once. I checked it one time and it was a little bit milky, and just from condensation, so I dropped it out, replaced the seal, put new 85 W140 oil in it, gear oil, GL5 gear oil in it, with a little touch of oil additive, and it's never leaked since. I've just finished painting it. Now, as I painted it, as I sanded it down this weekend, I took the video camera out here for a bit of a look around for you, and we'll just show you what we did with it. I didn't know what colour it was going to be. We have a product called X-Trol, and I covered that a little bit, and I've loved this X-Trol stuff for years. And when I first bought the Colorado, I stripped underneath it and I X-Trolled the whole thing, and there's not a sign of rust or corrosion or anything like that under there. There's a few stone chips on the diffs and things like that now, so I probably should pop it up on the hoist, on the lift, and pressure clean it all down and give it another hit under there after, it's nearly 8 years old, the Colorado's 2013, so yeah, it won't be long, it'll be 8. And yeah, there's not a sign of rust under there or anything like that, and I sprayed under all the body panels and up behind the cabin where the tray was and all that, so it's sealed up nicely, so, and it's really good stuff. So I had some of that around, and I was I was treating this stuff like gold, because I bought it a few years back, and then something happened with the company that was making it, and our suppliers couldn't get it anymore, and I had a 4-litre can here, and I didn't use it unless I really had to. I reckon it's just a great product. And but when we were down at Woodgate the other week for my birthday camp, there was a nice setup there, and it had cost-effective maintenance on the side of it, and on a Isuzu truck. So Mick and myself, my mate Mick, we went at a yarn to these people because we both had Isuzu trucks, and it turns out they're the owners of this cost-effective maintenance company, and he's I believe a chemist, and he used to work for the CSIRO. He's made all this stuff, and he gets it tested independently by the he got some of the oil additives and all that, but I think it may have been the fuel one, tested by the Brisbane City Council with their, they have their own dyno, and they can test emissions before and after and all that. And yeah, look, it come out great. It did improve things. So, but anyway, after talking to him, and you know, of course, business blokes, we get together and we talk business. That's just how it is. And he gave me a brochure, and I had a look at it, and I checked a few videos out and all that on this cost-effective maintenance stuff. Because I've often thought of some of this stuff as snake oil a little bit, but I've always liked Maury's, and anyway, some of this stuff, diesel particulate filter cleaner and all that, I've sort of been interested in just to have a look at. And anyway, I contacted their head office there and talked to Jimmy. And we're Queensland Tractor Spares. We're going to become a distributor for our area, and part of that package is that they have this X-Troll. And I thought, wow, I've been looking and looking for this stuff. So they even set me up a litre can just as a goodwill measure, and they sent me some fuel additive and some other stuff, and they've done proper independent scientific tests on this stuff, and they can actually run her up on the dyno and test the emissions and the horsepower and 0 to 80 kilometres an hour and all that. Then they can gin around and get these people to do other tests as well. And look, it seems good, and they've sent me a little care package of this stuff, and I'll actually, the Colorado, because of the short runs, I'm 7 kilometres to work and back, and I only go 4 days a week, and other times it just runs up to the shed and back, and you know, just around the little block here. And it's only 8 acres, so often it doesn't get hot, and I find the engine oil in the Colorado gets dirty very quickly. And they've got this engine flush, and I watched a few videos on it, and people are getting good results. So I thought, well, if I'm going to sell this stuff, bring it in as part of our range at Queensland Tractor Spares, I'm going to run it on my own vehicles, and I'm going to do my own tests. So that'll be coming up, just a bit of an indication on how it does it. Yeah, I think you put it in, you drop your oil, you put it in, you flush the system out, you drop it out again, then you change your engine oil and filter, and I suppose that they reckon the stuff comes out. The videos I've seen, the stuff that comes out, it's incredible. So, and the problem with my Colorado is short runs, and when I go away, when I've put a tractor on it and I go to a show, which we haven't been allowed to all year. Actually, I went to one early in the year, and I'll put the Caravan on and go camping and load her up a bit and give her a bit of work. Well, she runs like a clock. You can just feel the extra power, it just loves it. So it suffers from not working hard enough normally. Sort of like me, really. Look, I'm always busy, but yeah, it doesn't mean you don't have to work hard to be busy, do you? So so we're taking on this stuff. I was really excited to get the X-Troll brand into the business. A test we're going to use this X-Troll for is, if you recall on the Sparex TEA20 here, that's I've still got to do bits too, but that bonnet's a beautiful bonnet, and it's got this nice patina to it, and I'm actually going to test a little bit on that, on a little corner out of the way somewhere, and just see. But what it does, it etches, you don't have to get all the rust off, so that slight surface rust on the top, it'll seal that in and keep the oxygen away from it. So these old mudguards are pretty ratty here on the tractor, but I would like to keep the patina and seal it in a little bit. So I'm thinking the TE20 tractor, the Sparex TEA20, I think that'll be a good candidate to give this stuff a go on. And just to see if people do want to keep something, you know, that rat rod look, or just seal the paint over, see how it goes. You've only got to put it on light, so we'll test it and see. But look, it's a product that I've really loved on my cars, and I've used it for years, and I have heaps of faith in it there. Whether it holds the patina into the paint without discoloration or something like that, I'm yet to prove to myself. So yeah, that's sort of interesting. I'm over at my bench. The part of today has cleaned my bench up. It's just given me the shits. I've got tools at the 135 multi-power that I'm just sitting up because I'll need that. I'll leave that there, I'll need that shortly. I've got a couple on the TEA20, and I've got a heap over on the 2030. And I'm just getting spread out, and it gets to where you're just that inefficient that you spend all day walking around chasing your tail. So, so this morning after the stew, I'm going to go and find all my tools, pack them all up, get them cleaned up and put in my toolbox here. Now, quite a few months ago now, I told you that I'd ordered these big 53-inch long toolboxes. And so I've ordered the bottom cabinet and the top cabinet and the side cabinet that I can put the camera stuff on when I'm doing videos and all that. But with the COVID thing, and these companies, they must be bringing it all in from China, I suppose. I don't know. And but anyway, I've been on to them every couple of weeks. How's those toolboxes going? And they've been saying, oh, well, you know, we're waiting on the container, and the last container got held in customs for 8 days. And I said, well, was the one on that container? No, there wasn't. They're probably on the next one. So it just went on and on. So I cancelled them. Last week I had a chat to them, and I said, oh, look, I said, in case I find something else I'd like to do, I'm going to cancel that order. And when you get it all in stock again, give me a yell and I might be ready to go. But if not, and it was about $2,500 worth of stuff. And I tucked the money away for it, to pay for it. But yeah, it's just, I sort of got sick of waiting. And that's half the reason I left my bench a bit grubby. I thought, oh, I'll have my new toolboxes soon. I'll wipe everything up and just move them over into the new toolboxes, because this bench here with the vice and the blue toolbox, well, I like to work on that, and I can wheel that around next to my jobs. But I was hoping to have a tool trolley and just have this as a workbench with a little backing board on it and keep the oil in and that. But I don't know, it's not working out like that. It's just because of this COVID thing. And I don't know how things are going to go with Australia and China. The Australian PM, ScoMo, he, when the coronavirus started, he wanted it, to have a look at it and see where it come from, and put a proper inquiry in to see what happened. Well, anyway, China got their tits in a tangle about that, and China, they're just a country of bullies, and anyway, because we've done that, they're going to make Australia pay dearly. They said on the Grand Poobah of China over there, and just last week they cancelled another $6 billion worth of exports from Australia. So, and wheat's not on the list yet, but they're saying wheat is, they have mentioned it, so it'll be there. And so, but they only take about 1/5 of the Australian wheat crop, so we sell at other places. So, so I suppose as a country, we need to have a look at where we sell our stuff, and it's like, I mean, I learned a lesson years ago, and I used to have one bloke just about full-time working for Bundy Bear Sugar. They had their own workshops, but we used to do the field service on the farms, and look, I had one bloke just about almost full-time, and probably was full-time by the time they brought jobs home. And anyway, at the time, Smithy was the boss and at the mill, and I always wondered why they had a workshop at Binga and a workshop at Milliquin and a workshop at Ferrymead, and they were bringing us in, subcontractors. And anyway, one day I was out there and they were doing an engine on a John Deere 3350, and I was doing a Massey Ferguson 560, I think it might have been, backhoe transmission. And so I was there for quite a few days, getting it out and stripped and all that. But in that 1 week, the first day I went there on the Monday, they'd put a, and you'll know you can do an in-frame rebuild on a John Deere or a lot of wet sleeve tractors you can. And the first day I was there on the Monday, there was a fellow working on it, and he put 2 liners in and he measured the deck height and all that, and I thought, no, fair enough. But yeah, like everyone, it's a big business, and everyone used to come through chatting, talking. And so he had an RDO off on one day, on the Friday, and in 4 days he just got the liners in, and that's why they were bringing independent contractors in. But and that same job, we would turn up at your farm today, strip the head off, liners out, inspect your crank, do all that sort of thing, and do a little bit of cleaning up around the block, but not much. And we'd shoot through. We'd take your head, get it, drop it off to get serviced. We'd order what parts we needed, cam followers, liners, oh well the liners would be an engine kit, bearings and whatever we needed. And then we would assemble the pistons in the liners, and on the John Deere kit was like that. So was Sparex and Bepco and some of the aftermarket kits we used. And so what we would do when we were ready to go, we'd probably spend about a day in the shop just checking things and washing things and getting things ready and just getting all our ducks in a row to go to the job. So the day we would turn up and put your tractor together, we'd turn up at 6 or 7 in the morning, depending on how early you wanted to get going, and by 3 or 4 in the afternoon we would have your tractor running. Sometimes if things didn't go as planned, it might be later that day, but we'd have the block cleaned, and we'd clean all the grooves with a wire brush on an angle grinder, and we had our own generators and all that on board. And we'd clean the block and flush it and pressure clean it and all that, and blow it all dry. Then we'd have the liners in, the head on. Often I used to take the apprentice because it was, with the 6-cylinder ones, it was just nice to have that extra lift and you could pop them underneath. But I could do a 4-cylinder on my own in a day, no worries, and in about 8 hours. And we used to charge 32 hours labour total, and it didn't matter if it took us longer. We would quote that 32 hours, and we would get it done in that time. And if we went over, we didn't charge the customer anymore. So in 32 hours, we'd have the engine stripped, the head away, but the man would have his tractor down for probably a week or 10 days, depending on the cylinder head. How busy the cylinder head people were was often our hold up. And so anyway, so these people at the workshop there, 4 days, and they only fitted a few liners. It worked out, a liner and a quarter per day, and that was it. And so that's why they had subcontractors in. But anyway, Smithy, in his wisdom, and it was probably a good decision, he said, why have we got these contractors in? We've got good workshops here. You blokes are going to do all your work. So with the stroke of a pen, all us contractors were out of there. So we went from one bloke full time there to nothing, no work. And that's what, getting back to the Australia and the China thing, that's what's happening there. If you have all your eggs in one basket, the stroke of a pen and things can change. And big business, it's just a contract and things like that. So as with everything, in my business, I don't have everything tied up with one thing. Another thing might be worth thinking about is the macadamia nuts, the bottle nuts in Australia. Well, they are just going in flat out. And everyone says, oh no, China's taking as many as they can get. Well, I was talking to Judy this morning, and I said, I don't know about this. If China's getting the shits with us all, and they're stopping imports, well, perhaps they might, the main market for these macadamia nuts is China. They might get the shits with that too, so that'll affect our local area. But anyway, that's it. A bit of politics. America might have a new president, might not. Anyway, I thought, doesn't matter what you think of Trump, I think he got business going and things like that. But anyway, we'll see. In my experience, whenever you've got a green leaning or something like that, people in power, taxes go up, and they're not for the working people really. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. That's just a shit subject. I'm interested in politics, but not on my channel here. It's not about that. Today I hope to get filmed the assembling of the hydraulic piston on the 2030. I've got that pretty well ready to go. I thought I'd get it done last week, but in the afternoons the wind blew up here and the shed was crackling, and people say you can't hear it much. Well, you can't hear it because I have microphones and I sound suppress and dick around. If you listen to some of my old videos, it's really clear. And but anyway, look, I'm hoping to get that done today and filmed. I may get to the 2030 today and strip that box that little bit further. It's Monday morning, and Saturday I come up the shed and I thought, if I don't get that bloody slasher done, now I've got the 1640 done, it'll be rain and we'll have rain and I won't be able to paint it because of rain, and the grass will be growing and the shit will hit the fan. And so I got my finger out and the slasher's done now, and I've just got to put the chains on and the drive shaft and grease the drive shaft and just service it up a little bit. That's about the limit of it. So I might get some of that done this arvo today, and then Sunday, Saturday I did the preparation on the slasher, got it going on the slasher. I got the mower going, and I had the grandkids here Saturday morning, so we went and picked up some sticks and buggered around, did home duties. Then Saturday I cleaned the slasher up and pressure cleaned it and sanded it and X-trolled it, put the X-troll over it. And then yesterday morning I come up here early and I didn't know what colour it was going to be, but I had a look around and I found a couple of cans with a bit of massy red in the bottom, and it was just shit paint. And I had to strain it all to use it, but I thought, oh yeah, I don't care what colour it was. And I just wanted to, with the X-troll, I wanted to seal it all up and put a nice thick coat of paint on. And it's thick, I've got a few runs in it, and I'm happy with that, that's good for that. And so then yesterday we've been doing a bit of plumbing on the Caravan. Now, with the Caravan, where the plumbing goes underneath, and I thought about getting the camera up there, but you're that compact, it's just bloody hard work. And you know, trying to get in there and around, so I put the camera back in the car. I didn't worry about it because it was just, I had shit on the floor everywhere, you know, with hoses and clamps and all that. So I've redone some of the plumbing. Some of the stuff was it was just sort of bundled up and it was hard to follow through. I still have a bit to do to that yet, but that was yesterday, just on the Caravan. After I painted the slasher and did a few jobs up at the house there, and then got the Caravan. Look, it's pretty well sorted. I might put a new battery in it today. We looked at new Caravans last week. I don't know why we do this shit. At the moment there's a shortage of Caravans, second-hand Caravans, and people are getting like $3 to $4 grand more for their trade-in, and they're looking for Caravans under 10 years old, and mine's 8 years old, so we thought, oh yeah, do we? But then you'd have to find another 15 grand to put with it to get another one. And anyway, and Jude, we were talking about it last night, and Jude said, oh, what do you reckon? You think we should? But, I don't know. I'm not that keen, and what we got will suit us nicely, really. And the only thing another one would do that'd give us a nice toilet shower separate across the back, where now our toilet and shower is one room, and if you've had a shower in there, then you go to use the toilet. Well, you've got to sort of wipe the walls all down and dry it off a little bit. But anyway, look, what we got probably suits us, and I'm putting a bit into it. The other day I put a new solar panel controller in there, because the old one, the panel was working, but the panel wasn't lit. And in Australia, when you have a Caravan over 2 tonne, well, over 750 kilos, and you've got electric brakes, but you have to have a battery on there, and it's got a fail safe. So if the trailer comes disconnected from your vehicle, it pulls a little pin and that puts some points together and that locks your brakes on. You must have a battery there that's capable of holding your brakes on for 10 minutes. And I've had one of those systems on. I've never checked the bloody thing. I always thought it was on the main battery, you know, the battery that the car was charging up as we drove along, but no, it's a separate bloody thing. And so it wasn't, it had no voltage left in it, so a new battery there. And just an interesting thing, it was 68 bucks on eBay, 68 to 88 bucks on eBay, and I thought, oh, I'll go down to my local Century in town in Bundy here. We're agents for them, and I went in there and it was 35 bucks. So, pays to shop local sometimes, doesn't it? So, so look, the van's just about done now. We're nearly ready for a lap next year. We are getting organised. We got my young bloke's getting married in March next year, so I don't suppose I'll get on a lap before then. We'll just see how it goes. Jude and I are a bit keen to have a break, and we've got good staff, good business, and we're thinking of doing a couple of 2 or 3 week runs. 3 weeks is the limit because Judy pays all the bills, so if we go just after she pays the bills, that gives us about 3 weeks to go tootling around and come back and pay the bills. But we can pay a lot of them, like it wouldn't matter where we were. If I set Jude's computer up correctly, we'll be able to do it from anywhere. But anyway, that's another creek to cross later sometime. So today's cleaning up the bench. I still have this Sparex, the S40875 multi-power pump for the multi-power tractor here. It's on the bench in the road, so it'll probably get put together today and popped into the tractor just to get the bloody thing out of the way. And I do need to clean up, like I've just been running in the shed here doing stuff, and see, now we go. The shed might get noisy today, so I'm trying to video early, and with the cloud coming over, it expands and contracts, and I've got wooden wedges in all the doors to stop them rattling, and you can just hear the roof. You can barely hear it. No, it's actually it's stopped. It was just starting to crack a little bit now. Yeah, there's a couple there now, but it's a bit hard to hear. But I've got some footage of the slasher, the progress of the slasher for the end of the stew today. Yeah, have a look at that. You'll just see a bit of the process. It went from old Caterpillar Yellow that was leftover paint to Massey Ferguson Red, which was leftover paint. So anyway, we'll see how we go. But look, I better. I come up here to film the stew. I'm a bit late today to film the stew, and one of the smoke detectors up in the house just went off this morning. And Jude said it did it Friday too. And well, we'd settle it down, you know, wave something under it, press the button, settle it down, cancel it out, and about a minute later she'd go off again. And like, they got to be on mains power plus a battery backup. And anyway, I thought I had a fix, come up the shed, tried to start filming the stew. Well, the shed's 230 metres from the house, and you could hear it. The microphones on the camera here were picking it up. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, shit. So off I've gone again down the house, and Jude was packing up. She says, I'm out of here, I'm going to work. And so I actually had to disable one of them and give it a shake, because what happened, they have little lights inside, and sometimes around summer you get these little, just little insects get up in there, and they short them out inside. I mean, at the night time they're attracted to the little glowing light to say that it's on. And I remember in years gone by I used to have a bit of tape over that, but recently we got new ones fitted, because you know the old ones were old, the old type, and we got the Grand Poobah bells and whistles bullshit ones now. And yeah, nearly went in the bin this morning. So I've got two still hooked up. The one in the middle that was playing up, I've got it folded down. I pulled it out and give it a shake, and a couple of dead bugs and that did come out of it. But I put it back, and it fucking started beeping again. So it's disabled. So, and I don't know, I might just have to buy a new one or something. I don't know what the story is, but yeah. So the stew's a bit late. We've been having having smoke detectors go off, and I thought if I come up to the shed here I wouldn't hear it, but it was loud as anything in here. It just must be the breeze today or something like that. So anyway, but look, that's it for today. I do have the slasher repairs, or the paint of the slasher tagged onto the end of the stew today. Yes, hang around, have a look at that. Do all the like, subscribe, leave a comment, stuff. I reply to a lot of, well, I do try and reply to every comment, but let's see how we go. See how we get done today. But hopefully there'll be the stew this week, and at least one other video, maybe a couple, depending on how much I can get done and all that sort of thing. So once again, have a good week, everyone. Thanks for dropping by. Like, subscribe, comment, and watch an ad or two. All right, thanks, eh? See you next week.